How you guys doing? I have a very interesting discourse for us today. Speaking of the mathematics of life, that life, this mysterious life, can work like mathematics. That there are certain equations. You see that how 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. That certain realities in this life can be explained. There are certain elements in your life that are creating certain results. How if you want a certain result, 4, you know that you need 3 and 1 or 2 and 2, or if the transitive property where you can switch it, but you at least you know you need 2 and 2, you know 3 and 1. You don't just put random numbers together and get a certain result. No. So every result in life can be explained by certain elements that are put together the right way that create the desired result. So a result like depression, anxiety, it can be explained. It can be explained. It can be explained. There are certain elements that are misplaced, or where they're not supposed to be, or that they're supposed to be there but there's something missing. Something is wrong in that equation and it's creating that result. It's not random. It's not random. You see, but the problem about life is that people can have these results like depression and anxiety and pretend and bump around and laugh and joke with people and smile and act like life is okay, but they know that when they go home, when it's just them by themselves, they're dealing with these things. They're dealing with anxiety, they're dealing with depression, they're dealing with a low self-esteem and all these evils and all these things. But they're explainable. It's not random. Someone with spiritual intelligence can diagnose it like a doctor. You can pick out certain elements and say, because this is misplaced, that's why you have this answer. Like how a doctor can see symptoms and say it's caused by this, this, and this. You see that? That's how life works. It's like, it's predictable, life can be, because there are laws to this life. There's a construct, there's a way in which God created life to be. And when it's outside of that order, you will have problems in life, guaranteed. It's not just because life is life. No. The Bible says the heart is deceitful above all things and is extremely sick. The heart, you see, the heart, see, in this life, you can't only deceive men, you can also deceive yourself. You can pretend, you can like live a life of pretend. You're dealing with things and you're pretending as if things are okay. You see, you can't fake it. You really need to find how to reverse the equation. Just like if you wanted to change the equation from the result of 4 to 6, you need to find a way to change these properties, to change these elements, change the numbers. So if you say confusion plus bad friends, or if you speak about finances, say poor friends plus bad job plus bad habits equals poverty. If you wanted to change that equation, you need and change that answer, you need to change the equation. So you take bad friends or poor friends and make them wealthy friends. You take bad job, make a good job. You take bad decisions, make a good decision, and you'll get wealth. That's how life works. You can predict it that way. You just take the answer you have, the result, take the elements that create that result and reverse the elements and you'll get a different result. And so you can't fake life. If you have a certain result like depression, you have to find the elements that make for depression, or the elements that make for confusion or lack of answers. You have to find the elements that in this life there was a construct that God gave Adam, the first man in the beginning of time, that he said, he's basically explained that if you have these 3 elements in life, every desired result will be there for you. You see that? Number 1, God himself. So if we're trying to this equation means that if we're trying to reverse those elements that make for certain results in life, we need to change the different elements. You see, so you replace self-trust with, or faith in self and self-trust with God. See, because that's an element that's creating problems. Because how can you trust in yourself? You fail, you fall, you sin, you make mistakes. You're not strong enough to trust in yourself. That element needs to be changed. So say if I wanted to get 10 and I have 7, 2, and 1, you see, the 3 elements of the equation are God, purpose, and family. You see that? And so God is 7, purpose is 2, and family is 1 per se. You see that? 7 is even the biggest element there is, because even those 2 things should help to reveal God to you, your family, your human. I'm gonna get to that later, but you see, that means in this life, anything plus anything minus God equals vanity. Because this is the equation, you see? So that means money plus fame plus women plus drugs minus God equals vanity. That means billionaire status plus love from people plus good job minus God equals vanity. Anything minus God is vanity. Anything you see in this life, man, is God, is vanity. He's the biggest element, because if you're trying to get 10 and you have 7, 2, and 1, if you take 7 away, you're not even getting close. You're not even getting close. It's 2 and 1 aren't enough. You see that? You can't. God is the biggest. This is called the God factor. He's the biggest part of this equation, because everything finds meaning from the first element. That means human emotions plus sex plus put anything, and you can put any good thing that you can perceive in this life minus God, and anything and everything. All the money in the world, you're a trillionaire, you're the richest man in the world, plus all the beautiful women, or if you're a girl, if you're a female, plus all the most handsome men, and then you have everything you could have ever asked for, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, minus God, vanity. It all means nothing. Because the problem is that you can't take any of it with you. It only has weight in this natural world. It's temporary. It's vanity. It'll blow away like dust. You see that? The God factor. Number 2 is purpose. If someone sent you to a store but you don't know what you went to the store for, what are you gonna have? Confusion. Because there are Christians too that they know God, but they don't know their purpose. They don't know what role they have to play. So there's a lot of confusion in life. You see, the proof that someone hasn't found purpose is randomness. When somebody lives a very random lifestyle, one day they're doing this, the next day they're doing that, one day they're just bouncing around, just dabbling in things and trying different things. The friend circle looks one way this day. Nothing is intentional. That's what I mean to say. There's no intentionality, because purpose is another way of saying meaning. So when you don't have your purpose, everything you do will be purposeless. When you don't haven't defined your meaning, everything will be meaningless. You'll just have friends just to have friends. You see, everything becomes purposeful when you have your purpose. When you know why you're here, everything begins to make sense. If I know what I'm called to do, I can begin with spiritual intelligence to piece my life together. My friends will be intentional. The books I read will be intentional. The things I watch will be intentional. The people I hang around will be intentional, because I know why I'm here. If I'm building a house, if I know what house I'm building, I know what tools I need. If I don't know what house I'm building, it can be anything. I can need a hammer, I can need a screwdriver, I can need a phone, I can need a person. What do I need? But if I know the blueprint, Martin Luther King used to talk about this all the time. If I know the blueprint of my life, I know the tools I need. I know I need this friend, this destiny helper. I'm going to need the Holy Spirit. I'm going to need the church. I'm going to need my Bible. I'm going to need different elements. You see that? So finding purpose, the sign of finding purpose is the exactitude, the accurateness in someone's life. They know, it's like they do think there's a reason behind everything they do. You see that? Number 3 is family. Humans were created to be communal beings, to have fellowship, to have koinonia, to have human communities with people that love them, are willing to die. See, this is the equation. You can take any young person who's confused about life right now. If you give him God plus family plus purpose, there is nothing in this life they can't do. That is the equation to solve all human problems. That is the equation that brings every desired human result: joy, peace, happiness. So that means anybody that doesn't have this equation figured out in life, I can't ever expect them to have a fulfilled life. No. You see, the thing I told you before, the heart is deceitful. They can fake their life all the way up until they're on the deathbed. Now they have to face life. Now you can't fake it. That's why many people end up giving their life to Christ when they're dying, because now they can't fake anymore. You're really on the bed, you're really sick, and then money can't help you, and you're really sitting there, you're really gonna die. Now you really have to face life. People think money brings fulfillment. You see, ask any 89-year-old billionaire on his deathbed, and you think, oh, you have money, you should be fulfilled. You should be happy that, no. I guarantee he will trade anything. See, the things you're trivializing are the very things that he wish he could have back. His family, you see that? If his wife back, all the things that he thought were he had to give up to be great. Oh, who cares about a wife? I can have all the women I want. And then at the end of his life, you see, the women are taking his money. They're fighting over this. They're fighting over that. He's trying to figure out who's going to get his inheritance. All his children are foolish, ignorant, irresponsible. He couldn't be a good father. Who is going to leave his money to? Who is he going to leave his money to? You see that? All these things, we think these things bring fulfillment. This is the equation that solves all life's problems: God, family, purpose. So when someone's confused in life, it can be explained. Automatically, because God is the God that answers all prayers. When someone's confused in life, I know they don't have a prayer life, because that's exactly one of the defined purposes of, see, prayer in a man's life creates certainty. The Bible says, be anxious for nothing. So anxiety is a natural thing. Anxiety is the result of human uncertainty, because nothing's certain in this life. This life is crazy. So he says, be anxious for nothing, but in all things by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving make your requests known unto God. So prayer is the system that answers all of human anxiety and questioning. Oh, what is this about life? And prayer is that system. So you can see, when you understand how life works, you can begin to diagnose things like a doctor. I know someone is confused when they don't have a prayer life. And I know they don't have a prayer life when they're confused about life. They have no communion, no fellowship with God. No. I know someone hasn't found their purpose when there's randomness in their life. There's nothing intentional about their life. You see that? These are equations. These are the mathematics of life. Depression can be explained. These things can be explained by certain equations. Nobody with a true relationship with God that walks with God can have depression. It's not possible. No, it's not possible. No. There are certain things, there are certain realities that don't dwell with him. You see, realities exist in realms. Depression only exists in the natural realm. There's a realm above this realm. There's a spiritual realm, and then there's the realm of God. In the realm of God, depression doesn't exist. So God dwells here. Spiritual beings dwell here. Man dwells here. In this realm where God exists, that reality of depression does not exist. You see that? It doesn't exist. And so your body is here, but your spirit is here. This is why you need to know God. See, when Christ comes into your life, he's the medium. And so he came down from this high realm to come down to men, to take them up to this realm where certain things don't exist. Sickness doesn't exist in this realm. No. The Bible says none on Mount Zion shall say they're sick. Mount Zion is another way of saying of God's realm, God's presence, God's dwelling place. Nobody's sick in Mount Zion. Nobody's depressed in Mount Zion. Nobody in heaven right now is depressed. And he says, as he is, so are we in this world in the Bible. You see that? Certain realities, people are dealing with these things, they can be easily answered just by the first element, just by God alone. We don't even need the purpose and family first. Just by God alone. Just by defining that relationship through Christ with God, certain things are erased from your entire human history. Depression, lust, pornography, all these things are erased because these things don't exist in that realm. So I'm going to end here. You see, again, just to recap, I've been speaking about the mathematics of life, how life can be explained, almost how mathematics can be explained. Certain realities are created by certain elements of life that are pieced together that create certain results. And when you want to change those results, you change the elements that are creating those results. You see that. And then also I spoke about how we can deceive ourselves to thinking that we don't have these problems, but we do. But then it's not just to sit there and say, well, I just have to, that's just life. No. Life is not, you have a certain, man has been given a certain authority over life. You just need to find the elements that create certain results and then program those elements. You see that? And then I ended with speaking of that equation, that divine equation, God, family, purpose, that God created for man in the beginning of time. And it still works to this day. You see that? That's like the divine equation. God, family, purpose. God, family, purpose. God, family, purpose. God, family, purpose. Like I always do at the end of these videos, again, when I give the opportunity to give your life to Christ, I am trying to connect you through the revelation of Christ to that first element, which is God himself, which then brings purpose and then brings family. It begins with God. He's the beginning. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You see that? It all began with him. That means that's how everything in a man's life is supposed to begin. In the beginning, God. So the beginning of your family should be in the beginning, God. Your ministry, in the beginning, God. Your purpose, in the beginning, God. You see that? And so I'm going to give you this opportunity. If you want to give your life to Christ, say these words with me. Father, I thank you for sending your son to die for me and raising for my glory. I receive him and I receive his life. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless.